everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox, and we are going to get into it today. I'm here to tell you that this is the best season of your life. I feel pretty excited. Of course, the holidays are just a week away, and I hope you already have all your turkey, your ham, and all the menu that you have planned for your guests or your family, whomever. I hope that your plans are already made and that you are ready for, to receive your guests. Our plans are made and we are pretty excited about that. But yes, it is the best season of your life. Now, you may say something like, how can I say this is the best season of life when so many things are happening around us and so many changes and so forth? This is the season for you to shine. This is the season for you to recognize that you are in control, that you are in charge. You've got to get that mindset. If you don't get that mindset, you will become a victim. You will become a subject, to subjugate to things that are happening outside of you. But once you are clear in your mind that you have the power to create, you have the power to lead and guide and conduct your life the way you desire, then I'm telling you, comes a place where you would no longer have to make all this effort. You will just stand in your truth, in the freedom of your truth, and you will begin to attract. Now, someone may say it's easier said than done, but the point is it can be done. Comes a time, a place, comes a point where you're going to have to make decisions. We're going through this journey of self-discovery, and it's great, and we're taking step by step, but comes a point, and I hope that as you're going through this journey, because it never comes to an end, there is no destination in this journey. So I hope that as you are going through this journey, that you are really embracing all of who you are. You are embracing life. You're embracing your ability to think. You're embracing the fact that you can manage your thoughts, that you can manage your emotion through emotional intelligence and, your critical thinking skills, that you understand all of that. You have embraced all of that, and you embrace the person that you are right now. You embrace all of you. There's no blame, there's no shame, there's no judgment, no criticism, no condemnation, none of that. No judgment. And you are going through life really because you cannot be concerned with what somebody says or what they think about you, or even if they're thinking about you or not. What I have come to realize is that in most cases, people are not even thinking about you. They have their stuff to deal with. And the minute that they take to think about you, it goes in 60 seconds. That's it. And in most cases, it doesn't affect your life. What somebody is saying about you right now, whatever they're thinking or talking about you right now, you don't even know. You don't even know who they are. You don't know what they're saying. It doesn't affect your life. That's the way I have kind of narrowed it down. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're saying. And because I don't know, it doesn't affect my life. What affects my life is the thoughts that I entertain at this moment. Now, some have said that I share all of this. It's encouraging, it's motivating, and it's optimistic, positive, and so forth. But the area of the religious indoctrination, which is the elephant in the room, that I don't really spend a lot of time on that. Well, the reason I don't spend a lot of time on that is because there's no elephant in my room. But I do respect that some of you are going through this journey of religious deconstruction parallel to your journey of self-discovery. And I started to think about that the other day, and I thought, what's the what's the challenge? What is the conflict? Where is it really conflicting? What's the impasse? What's the place of where you can't meet, you can't penetrate? And what I have come to realize, and again, when I talk about religious indoctrination or religious deconstruction, I'm talking about the Christian faith because that's the religion that I subscribed to years ago, for many years. But it's been many years as well since I left that faith or any religion at all. I don't subscribe to any religious belief, no religious doctrine. I've got my own place of peace and freedom that I live, my truth that I live, the love that I live, and that works for me. And I encourage you to, some people do think, some people think that they need a religious community. And if that's how you think, and if that's what works for you, then you need to find a place where you can find comfort, a place that has more flexibility, that's not as stringent in the laws and the rules and all the things that you are commanded to do. But for those of you that are looking for a life free of the weight of religion and all of that, then come to a place where you make decisions for yourself. And you've got to have the trust in yourself that your thoughts, your ideas, your opinion, all the things that or the tools that the scholars, the religious scholars, use to create a book full of doctrines, they were not smarter than you. You have to understand, and you have to know and to trust yourself that you are also able to come up with your plan for living, and that it will be honored and sanctioned by yourself. And for some of you that say, well, there has to be, I need a God and whatever, there are over 18,000 gods. So, and I don't say that, jokingly, it is the truth, because they all have something. The one thing they have in common is that none of these gods have evidenced themselves. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. And when I say God, I'm referring to the God of the Bible, because the only way you know about God, for people that are religious, what is important to understand is that we don't just become religious organically. That doesn't happen. You don't become religious organically. You were taught. You were taught by your parents, by your in the social structure in which you grew up. You were taught that. You were influenced. We all were influenced by religious indoctrination. And or even if you were not taught in your house, in your home, the influence of the social and cultural construct. So the same way you learn it, you can unlearn it. And I am proof of that. Not just me, but there's so many people that are going through, and that I have learned, that are going through this religious deconstruction, because people are looking, they're people are feeling so trapped, and they want the freedom. Comes a point, like, there's a scripture in the Bible that says in the last days people will walk away from the faith. Yes, absolutely so. You know why? Because people will become awakened, aware. They will become conscious of truth. Their hearts, their intuition will start pursuing truth. The same desires that you have now to pursue truth, that is what happens in the last days. That's why so many people are breaking away from church today. And the younger generation, this generation, they don't want anything to do with church at all. I had someone mention this week, they said, I was obliged to go to church, and I had to go every Sunday and every Wednesday. And they said, the moment I reached 18, I stopped going. Of course, they were off to college. And they said, I stopped going because they were on their own. They were, perceived an adult, and they stopped going to church. And then they shared how, how unhealthy it was for them, that belief. But one of the things, I digress. I said I was talking about the catalyst that brings it to an impasse. The religious or your religious indoctrination with the desire for self discovery, with your journey of self discovery. And the thing is this: in religion, in most religion or all religions, what is promoted is a life of faith. It's an attitude of faith. You must have faith. You must have faith, because without faith, it is impossible to please God. And it also say that those that come to him must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Now, when I say faith, you when you walk by faith, you have to abandon all logical reasoning. They don't mix, because logic and reason demands evidence. When you see a situation, you need to analyze it, you need to process it, you need to give it some thought, you need to exercise critical thinking, and then you come to a conclusion. But it's all evidence, whatever the situation is. But if you're talking about faith, there is no faith, is just a belief system. And in all cases, it's limiting belief. You are limited. And people go through life year after year after year after year after year, walking by faith. And they say they walk by faith and not by sight. In other words, you walk by faith, by a belief system, but not by what you can see. So we go through life romanticizing religious doctrine. We romanticize God, and we romanticize the doctrine. That's why people say things like, God is good all the time. Now, think about that. Think about that for just a second. When you say that, either you don't have the definition of good, because again, and that is subjective. There's no objective morality in the Bible, contrary to popular belief. And I know that most of you think that that the Bible is a fundamental cornerstone of morality. Well, it isn't. But if I say something like, you say God is good all the time. And when you think about, and the thing that's interesting is that when you talk to a lot of believers, people, and again, I'm talking to you that have said that you have reached a place of impasse where you can't process, you can't reconcile your religious doctrine with your desire for self-discovery, to discover your true self, because your true self want to believe certain things, want to live a certain way, but you are frenar, you are, the brakes is on that area of freedom, of liberty, of wanting to, of being able to. But when I said that your logic goes out the window because of faith, think of this. And I was thinking about this the other day. Think of Moses. Let's talk about God, the God of the Bible. Moses goes up to Mount Sinai, and he stays there a long time, doing whatever. This is according to the story. Now, you should know by now, if you have been doing your own research, you should know by now that there was no Moses. There is no evidence that there was ever a Moses as described in the Bible. And there's no archaeological evidence that there was a Moses or the parting of the Red Sea or all of that. And really, your pastors should know this. The thing is that when a pastor goes to, or when someone goes to seminary, theological Bible school and whatever, they are simply taught from the Bible. But if they themselves were to go and do the research and dig into ancient times and, to find out when it all started, they would either become a different type of pastor, not using the doctrine of the Bible, because it totally contradicts the reality, the truth. Back to what I was saying. Let's take God, for instance. Moses, according to the Bible, he's up there on Mount Sinai, and he's there for the longest time. Down here, they're the children of Israel, and they are waiting for him to come down. They're waiting, and I think it's like 40 days or something, and they're getting restless. And on the mountain, God gives instructions to Moses. He gives him a tablet, and on the tablet, I think it's the fifth commandment. He said, "Thou shalt not kill." Stay with me. Thou shalt not kill. Now, let's use reason. He says, "Thou shalt not kill." Don't kill anyone. That is against the laws of God. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor, and all of that. You know what they are. 10 commandments. And by the way, there was 10 commandments, but in essence, there are about over 600 commandments in the Bible. Again, look it up. You are responsible for getting yourself out of this quagmire, not just the things that you hear. You need to know for yourself, because I know for me, when I left church, religion, and all of that, I went searching for myself because I needed to know. I needed to know so that my freedom, I would know, came from me. That I know because I know. Not that I listen to someone else and, I'm going to just take what they say. No, amigo. Absolutely not. I wanted to make sure that what I knew came from me, from my own research, from my own conviction, my own time, my own, resonance, that it resonated with me, that I knew for sure, and that I am convinced that I know this, so that I would have the freedom to be who I am, my true authentic self, and not that I listened to or followed someone else. And those people that I listened to, I don't take, it's like, don't take my word for, don't take my word for it. You just hear what I have to say, but you are responsible for doing your own search, your own research, so that you would know for yourself. Because when you come to that place of knowing, that's where you feel really free. And that's where you can walk in that place of authenticity, and you begin to attract things. Let's get back to Moses. So Moses is up Mount Sinai, and he's there for a long time. He gets the tablets, and the fifth commandment, I think it's the fifth, that says, "Thou shalt not kill." He comes down from the mountain. In the meantime, the Israelis are there. They had gotten restless. There were about over, there were many. There were, thousands of them. And they decided to build a golden calf, because they thought they had a need to have a god. So they were going to create a god. So I think it was Aaron. Anyway, one of the elders said to them, "Give me all your gold." Told the woman, "Give me all your gold," whatever, that they're going to build a golden calf. And they build a golden calf. They created, they put it together, a golden calf. And they started worshiping the golden calf. They had this thing. It was like a, like a bacchanal, like a feast. Yeah, they were worshiping, but their way of it was really salacious and contrary to what I guess Moses, God, desired or whatever. So Moses comes down and he sees the debauchery. He sees the scandalous behavior. They have the golden calf and they were on top of the calf. And I'm just going by, I not just the Bible, but I used to have all these videos at the time. They were uh what is it called? Those well, I streamed it, but initially I had like CDs of the movies and so forth. And so based on the creator of those movies, of like Moses, the Ten Commandments, David, Esther, I had all of them. I had the whole. If they made it, I bought it. I had a whole collection. I destroyed them and got rid of them because, again, they meant nothing to me after a while. But so in the movie of that one was the Ten Commandments, Moses, and it depicted the woman having a thing on the golden calf, and they're reveling with the men and just a thing, but in their minds, I guess they were worshiping God. After instructing Moses to on the tablet, on the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," immediately God commanded Moses to kill. He orders him to kill all of those folks that were worshiping the golden calf. He ordered him to kill. There were over 3,000 of them that were killed. Over 3,000 of them that were killed because they were worshiping the golden calf. So when I read that and started trying to process that in my mind, first of all, here's a God that Moses spent time with, believed he heard them. And according to the story of the Bible, a tablet made of stone was created, and on it, God wrote his commandment. But one of the commandments was, "Thou shalt not kill." So it's quite incongruous when you think, "Thou shalt not kill," but at the same time, when he comes down the mountain and sees the debauchery that was happening down there at the foot of the mountain, and they were, he saw that they had built this golden calf and so forth. But then God himself tells Moses to kill them. Process that. I blame the writers because this whole thing to me is a fairy tale, and it's mythology, tales, stories, fables, all of that. He orders Moses not to kill, "Thou shalt not kill," but at the same time, he orders him again to kill. all of the. So when you say God is good all the time, now, and don't say about it's the New Testament and so forth, versus the Old Testament. This is the whole Bible, and the whole Bible is what you believe in, because that is what has been given to you. All 66 books. There was no mercy, no compassion, no instruction, no nothing. These were just, people trying to have a good time. And he tells Moses, just imagine, my friend, the fear that you would develop when you read something like that. Of course, you'll be afraid, especially when God says, without faith, it is impossible to please me. Because when you come to me, you must believe that I am, and that I am a rewarder of them that diligently seek me. So you want to be in that lane of diligently seeking God so that you can be rewarded. But he also says, if you believe, when you believe, if you believe, these signs shall follow you. These are the signs that will follow you. And here is where you would know where you stand. If these signs are not following you, then you really do not believe. You may think you believe, but remember, in the last days, according to the Bible, it says that many would say, Lord, Lord, and he would say, depart from me. I don't know who you are. I have no idea who you are. And that's why people go through life. They're afraid. They're afraid to live because they're afraid of offending this God. These signs shall follow them that believe in my name. And you know what they are. Of course, I've also learned that a lot of people don't know what's in the Bible. I've read it a few times. In my name, you shall cast out devils. You can do this. But the one that really gets to me, that I have always wanted to see, because it's the one that can do the most good to people, my friend. And you shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. That's the one. These signs shall follow them, those that believe. So let me ask you something. If you have any kind of ailment, if you have any kind of sickness, any kind of disease, if you're taking medication for something, regardless of what it is, whether it's a migraine or whatever, cholesterol, heart, blood thinner, mental, sedative, any kind of medication, any kind of sickness, any kind of disease, any kind of ailment. If you are a believer, the sign that should follow you is that you lay hands on the sick, which is yourself, and you will recover. If you haven't done that to evidence recovery, then there is a glitch there in your belief. And that's probably why you may not be rewarded of those who diligently seek. All of that has to do with belief system. All of that has to do with the belief system, not reality. It's a belief system. It's walking by faith. You ought to be able to lay hands on yourself. It says, lay hands on the sick, whether it's yourself or your kids. How can you have a kid in St. Jude's Hospital that's terminal, and you call yourself a believer. You know why? It's because you are romanticizing the whole religious doctrine. Get a hold of that and you will be set free. You will realize why you have reached that place of conflict. Your religious doctrine versus your desire for self-discovery. It's not rocket science. These signs shall follow, and that's in the New Testament. These signs shall follow them that believe. And if these signs are not following you, then there is a glitch in your belief system. And you have to discover your truth. You have to discover the truth that works for you. People go through, I know someone that says it all the time. God is good all the time. But there is a lot of illness in their own lives and in their family's life. So, do you see how when you walk by faith, the law of logic and reason goes out the window? Because you are just walking by faith. And it's for years and years and years and years and years that people walk by faith. Walk by faith. I mean, if it's working, if you are able to lay hands on the sick and they recover, that's what it says. Either you believe it or you don't. And if you don't apply it, it's because you don't trust that it will work for you, or you may have tried it. You know, when people talk, they go into a whole bunch of mental gymnastics and they say things like God is not a genie and God just doesn't move at our command and a whole bunch of stuff. But the thing is, it says, you shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. So if you are ailed with some kind of disease or sickness, you ought to be able to lay hands on yourself and you should expect to recover. Evidence your recovery, regardless of what it is. There is no distinction, or there's no, regardless of what it is. Whether it's replacing a whole arm or replacing a kidney or a lung. I don't know if you can do without a lung, but anyway, whatever it is, you ought to be able, or, fixing your lungs so that you can, breathe correctly and not have issues with your lung, or your coyunturas. What do you call that? Joints. Whether it's your joints, you need healing in your joints so that you can walk, correctly and, heal. You ought to be able to lay hands on your knees, and it says that you shall recover. It says you shall recover. It says you shall recover. But then again, there's so many other things that you have to think about. Your own Bible tells you to deny yourself. Deny yourself. So just imagine you're going through this journey of self-discovery, trying to find out who you are and what you're made of, and discover your your vibes, your energy, your style, what you're made of, the ability to think, the ability to create, to manifest, to do things, your strength, your intuition, your instinct, your ability to think and process, and you're going through all of that, and you want to enjoy life based on your own criteria. because what's fun for me may not be fun for you, and vice versa. But then I don't go by any rule that tells me to deny myself. To deny myself? No. I used to, and first of all, again, I also used to romanticize the Bible, the word of the Bible. I used to romanticize it. But when it said deny myself, well, yes, I used to, because yeah, things that I really wanted to do, like I think I shared before, I love a glass of wine. And but back then I didn't know that. I didn't know that because um when I got born again years ago, I really never drank. If I went out to a place dancing or whatever, I may have like a pina colada, margarita, those sweet drinks and things like that. And but once I got born again, I didn't drink at all, anything. So, but after I left the religious doctrine, I did. Um, by then, I was married by then, and with time, because my husband always had a glass of wine. He does have a glass of wine, and so forth, and I developed that, and now I have come to the place where I enjoy a glass of wine. Whenever we go out to dinner, that is our thing. We have a glass of wine. It's so, and of course, once you get to know the kind of wine that you like, it just becomes a thing. It just becomes a social protocol. I just like it and I enjoy it anyway. But I cannot even go back there. Deny yourself. Why? Deny yourself of what? Deny yourself. Turn the other cheek. All these things. Turn the other cheek? Does that even make any sense? Think of it. Think of it. Turn the other cheek. That doesn't work for me. Never worked for me. When I was younger, I would fight. I would I wouldn't let you just, try to bully me or things like that. That just didn't happen. I shared in one tape years ago, well, sometime last year or whatever, how when I was in grade school, there was a bully. Grade school was probably junior high. I don't know. I don't remember. I was probably, I don't know, 11, 12, 13. And Beverly tried, she was the bully. She was the bully, and everybody was afraid of her, including me. For some reason, I didn't bother with her, and I didn't, it's kind of one of those things you don't look at them, and I just kind of kept, I just didn't, she didn't bother me, or I didn't bother her. But one day she took note of it, and Beverly, and she would have, you buy candy during recess, and then she would, and I used to wear my uniform because my dad owned a very successful dry cleaning business. So our shirts were pressed with starch, not spray on starch, real starch, pressed, and our skirts well pleated and whatever. So when I went to school, I was like crisp. And she would eat candy, and then, hi, and then she would do that, and then soil my blouse. She did it a few times, and I noticed it. The first time I didn't say anything, but after I realized that she was doing it on purpose, almost taunting me. And one day I told her not to do that. I said, you don't need to say hello. And I didn't like her, wiping her hand or, rubbing my shoulder. So she took offense to that, and she kind of bullied me. And following that, she started bullying me a little more often. Well, I got sick of it. In the meantime, everyone was tired of, not tired. They were afraid of Beverly, and they were afraid of her. No one would challenge her. So I got sick of it. So I challenged her. I challenged her, scared as hell. I was scared. But I challenged her. I said, you know what? I'm sick of you. Estoy harta. de tus travesuras. You know, I am sick of your taunting and so forth. And I said, we're going to square it out. So I challenged her the next day, 3:30, I think it was 3:30, on the Wilcox building. The Wilcox building was a huge building next to the school. Here we are, St. Joseph's School, and next to it is the Wilcox building. It had a rooftop building, and you really don't belong there unless you lived in the building. Nobody lived in the building. So I challenged her. I said, we'll meet the Wilcox building on the rooftop at 3:30, and we will fight and duke it out. So, and remember, the only reason I didn't do it early is because I was afraid. You know, she was like, Beverly was like, you know, lanky, tall, and she got long arms, and she was just like, you know how bullies, and bullies are generally cowards. They just, you don't know it yet. But when somebody challenges them, then they kind of back off. It's like, so the point is, Beverly, I had like 5 of my friends with me, and they were like, yeah, Cynthia, Cynthia. And she had her group of friends, you know, 5 or 6 or whatever, because they were her friends simply because, again, they were also afraid, and it was better to befriend her and to be on her side than to be on the opposing side. So 3:30, we went up to the Wilcox building. I took off my watch, my whatever, and we met there and we duked it out. We duked it out, and I mean, I get, you know, she could, you know, pack a good punch, and so forth. And the way the fight ended was like, it was, they saw that she was getting exhausted. I was too, but I was just trying to be bad just because I thought, you know, either she beat me up or something. And they eventually just kind of pulled us aside and just held us. But she really wanted to be held back because I was letting it. I was like, I didn't even, I mean, it was, so I am saying that to say this. Turn the other cheek? No, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Anyway, that after that whole incident, we became friends. She befriended me because she thought, man, who is this? But, you know, going into that, I was afraid. I was afraid that she would have just, you know, whipped my butt. I was just kind of like hesitant, but I did it because I needed to free myself of that, from that fear of a person. And I thought either she's going to beat me up and whatever, but at least the fact that I challenged her, and that was the whole thing. The fact that I challenged Beverly made her afraid because no one would dare to challenge her. And after that, everybody kind of became my friend, and they just thought that I was so bad and whatever, just because I challenged her. But I can't say that I beat her up. She can't say that she beat me up. They just held us back. But I packed a good punch and she packed a good punch, and, you know, we were at it and so forth. The point is, I will not turn the cheek just for someone to hit me on the other cheek. But that's what it says. It says to give them your cloak. If somebody asks you for something, give them, you know, so all of these rules that you are following, of course, it's going to conflict because sometimes you're like, wait a minute, no. It's just like you trying to be a people pleaser. It's like being a people pleaser. You want to do things so that you can fit in or so that people can like you. No, you don't look. Comes a time where you stand on your own, and yes, you may lose some relationships, you may lose some friendships, you may lose some connection, but once you decide you want to go to where you become your authentic self, then it doesn't matter. You'll gain new friends. They will come to you. Things will start coming to you. And you won't even have to dismiss them. It will happen organically. You will know that you no longer enjoy the company of these people, or, you know, you will find that people are separating themselves from you because they don't like the way you think, they don't like your freedom, they don't like the way you're going and so forth. But you need, once you know what you want for yourself, That is how, that is what will give you courage and strength to forge ahead, to forge ahead. It also talks about unconditional love. That is something that a conversation that I had with someone, and I think I've shared this before. There's no such thing as unconditional love. There's no such thing as unconditional love. Every love has conditions. Every love. Oh, the love of a mother, every love is conditional. Every love is conditional. Even the Bible says it. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the fat of the land. You have to not just be obedient, but you have to be willing. You have to be willing and obedient in order to reap the benefits, in order to reap your prosperity, your abundance. You have to be willing and obedient. I can tell you right now, I have not followed this. I got rid of all my Bibles, but I have not. And of course, if I need to look something up, you can always find it on Google, whatever. But you have to come to a place where you realize, where you find out the the strength, the power that's within you. And once you find that out, takes you on a whole different level. And people that continue to romanticize religious doctrine, the Bible, religious, to romanticize. And I'm telling you, when when I go through social media and people start preaching and scripture and all that, I just scroll, because that is not my interest. That is not my interest, because there's someone that I'm aware of that has all these medical situations. And I want to say, these signs shall follow you. If you are a believer, let me tell you, in case you haven't read it, you are able to heal yourself. You are able to heal yourself, and you are able to heal your children. Your children doesn't have to be locked up in Children's Hospital or St. Jude's. You should be able to. These signs, how serious are you about the belief that you subscribe to versus the desire to self-discovery? I mean, if you really believe this, then all these things should be manifesting, should be evidenced in your life. All of the, that's why I and today, when you see people talk about or say that there are Christians and so forth, there's no, people don't believe that, because what is evidence? It's horrific. What is evidence as moral conduct is horrific. It's horrific. Nobody wants to be a Christian. And he's like, what? Oh, no, 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 no. He's like, no, 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 no. And I'm not saying this to criticize. I was that devout religious person for years, until my eyes were opened. I became consciously aware of my truth, and life has changed drastically, and things just grow exponentially. And life is good, life is sweet. I really enjoy life now, because there's no burden of, you can do this, you can do that, and my moral compass, because there was a discussion between two people, and they were arguing, like, what is your moral compass? And the other person said, well, my moral compass comes from the Bible. And when this other person who left, is this deconstruction person, deconstructed from religion, when he started pointing out all the things that contradict itself and all the, the wars that God commanded, and all of that, and slavery that God condoned, and all of that, they didn't have any argument believing that the Bible is the fundamental cornerstone of morality. Absolutely not. It is not. Since when is slavery, owning other humans? Since when is that? Now, I know that there were other cultures even before the Bible was created, invented. There were other cultures that did other stuff. That's why when you say morality is subjective. And morality really is ever changing because of cultural and societal changes. Now, we know basic things like, of course, you're not going to harm your neighbor. You don't want to harm your neighbor. But a moral code, the Bible is no cornerstone of morality. Think of it. I remember, when I went back and read, God commanded them to, and that's another thing also. Think of it. Think of it. It says that God has favorites. He has the chosen few. Again, they wrote that in there, that God has favorites. And unless you're part of that group, that means you were not a preferred person. You were not preferred. I know it says that you were engrafted in, but that happened to make, it's like having a side chick to make your main chick jealous, your main squeeze jealous, because they were not paying you, giving you the honor and attention that you commanded. I'm just saying that in layman terms, but that's exactly what it is. So I'm going to get a side chick to make them jealous. So you are engrafted in. You were second choice. You were like, oh, let me just put them in there. Let me just put them in there. That's why there's so much insecurity and fear, and you're not sure, lack of confidence, lack of assertiveness, because you are not sure where you stand. You don't know. And it brings insecurity and fear. You are not the preferred one. And I'm not saying this to make you feel any kind of way. Well, first of all, I can't make you feel any kind of way. It's your own, your own judgment against yourself. It's what you understand about yourself. But that's what it says. And I'm only saying what I have read here. It says you were engrafted. Unless you're part of the Israeli tribe group, you were not chosen. You're not preferred according to that. Those are interesting stories. And if I was part of the authors that write that, I would write things in my favor as well. He's like, if you come up and say you're a Superman and then you believe that, then you make everyone else believe it. But that's not the way it goes. I used to question that a lot when I walked in religious doctrine. I used to kind of question that. It's like, oh, okay, so I was engrafted in, and so. Hi, sweetheart. Let me call you right back, okay? Bye bye. I thought I had turned that off. Anyway, that's the whole thing. I used to question that. Favorites, and then I think it's in the New Testament where it says God is no respecter of persons. Well, that's not true. That is not true. Think of it. He's a respecter of persons. God is a respecter of persons. That means he has favorites. Do you know how you feel like if you have siblings and you feel like your mom and dad prefer this, your brother or your sister or whatever, it makes you feel some kind of way, and then your mother tried their best to make you believe that, oh no, we love each other, we love them equally. What I came to find out, with my mom, because I used to prefer my mom. I used to do a lot of stuff with my mom. So because I did a lot of stuff with my mom, it could have appeared that she loved me the most, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. I preferred her. So I would call her all the time and do things with her and enjoy her company and, travel with her, say, Mom, let's go on a cruise, or Mom, let's do this, let's do that. She would say, why don't you come to New York? There's this fashion show, let's go, and so forth. So we used to do a lot of stuff together that we enjoyed. So, my friend, this whole thing about religious deconstruction, that could be an only fix. But let me tell you, you've got to do your own search, because if you don't do your own search, you will be subject to, it's like now, you go to church and you only know what the pastor tells you. And like I say, pastors should know, they should know that Moses never existed. They should know that, because even though they may have a not doctrinal, even though they may have a, seminary degree, school of theology and so forth, they should, especially today, now, it's just like there's this pastor, his name is Creflo Dollar. He went back and he told his congregation, after years and years of preaching about tithes and offering and asking for money. As a matter of fact, he wanted to buy this plane, $1 million. And he said that, God told him to buy a plane, and he took up money from the congregation and so forth. I think he did buy the plane. The point is, he came back not too long ago, a few years ago, and say, you know what? Everything that I talked about prosperity, get rid of it. Get rid of all the books. That's not the truth. Check it out. His name is Creflo Dollar. And I say that publicly because he said that publicly. That's how I heard it. He said that publicly. So you see, he is coming to light. He is coming to the light of truth. Now, I don't know what he does now, but that's a delicate subject because it's a scam. Every pastors, they want you to bring your money. You live by faith, but they live by your tithes and offering. You live by faith. If the pastor wants a new car, you pick up money and you take offerings and so forth to get him a new car. But if you want a new car, a new house, pay your bills and all that, then you must live by faith. Makes no sense. Again, when there is faith, logical reasoning goes out the window. So it is up to you to bring a balance and to discover the truth that will set you free, because it is your truth, not my truth. It is your truth that gives you the freedom to be and to walk in your true, authentic self. My friend, I'm going to leave you with that so that you can sup on that and you can really come to a place, because, you have to get to a place where you start enjoying life and just having fun and not be burdened with all of this, where you start having fun, going out, doing the things that you like, traveling, enjoying your friends. People know that you can be yoked with anyone else and deal with life as it is, and move forward. Every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have a date right here. And if you can't meet me here 24/7, look at the little icons over here, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. 24/7, you can pick up the show and, subscribe to my channel, and you can put a like, whatever. The thing is that everything that I've shared, it's not meant to offend anyone. It is my take on having to do with going through a journey of self-discovery, and also a journey of religious deconstruction. It's not for everyone, but for those of you that have shared that, you want to come to that place of freedom, this show is for you. Drop me a note at info@thecynthialinoxshow.com, and whatever you want to share with me, I listen, I read, so forth, and we can take it from there. I'm also a certified life coach. In case you want to have someone that walk with you as you go through your journey, you can touch base with me. I have like a 30-minute complimentary session where we can chat and see if there's a great connection between you and me, and we can take it from there. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. Whatever it is that you choose to do, most of you may be just busy doing, getting ready for Thanksgiving. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. In the meantime, adios, hasta luego, hasta la vista, ciao, au revoir.